Good afternoon, good morning, or good evening, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, turning of all ages. It is the one-legged man, the DOUG here, and if you've been finding me on Facebook or Twitter, you know why. Of course, with me is Mr. Johnny B. Good, aka Mountains of Ice. Say hello, Johnny.
Hello.
And before we get to a recap of last week and give out our awards for last week and get to the question of the video and make our picks and talk about the two baseball wildcard games and everything else, I have something to do. As many people of you know who watched week 1 and our preseason predictions, I said whenever the Cowboys would lose, I would sing a song the next week. And I did give you guys a clue to what that would be since the Cowboys did lose to the Saints. I said the hero was pink and he liked to eat. So, I can't believe I'm saying this because only 2 people got it right. To Rosie the Robot, aka Vampire Queen Productions. And I gotta go to Discord real quick because he was the only other one who got it right as well. YT Mouse, you were the only 2 to get it right of what song I would be singing. So with that being said, Kirby, that's a name you should know. Kirby, he's the star of the show. He's more than you think, he's maximum pink. Kirby's the one. He comes right back at ya. Give it all that you got. Never shot, and right back at you, sure, yeah. How can I help you, King DDD? I need a monster to stop that there Kirby. Well, that's what we do best, that MMD. And you better get it back with a money-back guarantee. Oh, Kirby, saving the day. Kirby, he's here to stay. Done me 4 by size, you won't believe your eyes, Kirby's the one. Right back at ya, yeah. And there's the song for this week. If you do not remember that show, by the way, that came out in the mid-2000s on 4Kids TV. It's actually one of the few good shows they had on there. But it's time to get to the Week 4 recap.
Honestly, it's not. You're saying it's not that bad.
I actually tried to do that. I know fine, it's just gonna be like, ugh, but let's get to Week 4's recap. The Packers lost to the Eagles because they pulled the Seattle Seahawks against the Patriots. I'll be right back. Johnny, entertain him. I fucking hear you. God damn.
Well, this is awkward. What he was gonna say is the Packers pulled up Seahawks because they decide, hey, let's keep passing the fucking ball on the goal line. So of course the Eagles lose to the Packers. 34-27 was the score. Of course, the Browns shit all over the Ravens' hopes and dreams, 40-25. Fuck me. And I don't know what Doug's gonna say about that game, but I don't, because I'm taking over this show. The Titans whacked the Falcons 24-10. I mean, honestly, Falcons couldn't get anything going. I think. The Patriots barely beat the Bills. If it wasn't for that blocked punt, they could have in fact lost because they missed that extra point in the touchdown before. It would have been 10-9. The Bills would have fucking won if that was the case. Of course, the Chiefs they edge out the Lions 34-30 in Detroit. Yeah. And the Raiders shockingly went into Indianapolis and upset the Colts, even with that vicious hit by Vontaze Perfect. The Raiders got a deserved victory because of that, in my opinion. But yeah, I mean, they were the better team overall, so they deserved the win. The Chargers didn't look that great against the Dolphins, like every other team should have, but they got the job done. The Giants just crushed Redskins' hopes and dreams as the Redskins didn't look that great. 24-3. And the Panthers hold off the Texans to only the Panthers surprisingly just hold the Texans to only 10 points. Not a very good offensive performance from the Texans side of things, as they lost 10-16. And the Bucks just came out of fucking nowhere to just dismantle this Rams team 55-40. And honestly, that was probably one of the shocking upsets of the week. Even though that was my lock of the week, I'm still fucking pissed. The Seahawks shut down Kyler Murray and the Cardinals 27-10. The Bears, even without Mitchell Trubisky, shuts down the Vikings 16-6. That was a shit show on Minnesota's part. They looked really bad offensively. And the Jaguars edged out the Broncos in their final drive to win the game 26-24. And the Saints barely edged out Dallas even on their last drive, which became a meme. That was shit. Even then, it was a defensive slogfest. It showed how tough these defenses can get, really.
I'm back.
I did every game for you except the Steelers at Bengals. I was just going through them.
Alright, well thank you for that. Sorry, as usual, when I tell my family, did they forget anything, they're like, nope, and then, guess what?
They forgot something.
Yeah, because, well...
I mean, you can just tell me how I did later, I guess.
Yeah, you did. Well, you probably did good because you probably went over and said, you know, who lost and did something funny with each one.
I didn't do anything funny. I was just expecting you to return. So.
Well, unfortunately, he can't. I'll put it like this: my stepdad doesn't like to be rushed, and unfortunately, when he's not rushed, though, we don't get out of here till like 5 hours later when everybody else is ready. Anyway.
The Steelers at Bengals, we don't even need to say anything. Just
Bengals got him. Bengals got murder, death, killed from demolition, man. But I went I went 6-9, unfortunately. And Johnny, you did a little better than me, though.
I went 8-7, yeah.
8-7. And for the season, we are both 36, 26-1 right now due to that. So we are tied once again.
My lock's now 3-1 because of the stupid Rams.
Well, we know neither one of us has won a Thursday night game, unfortunately. That kind of sucks. So hopefully that will change. But before we get to the picks, we got some awards to hand out and a question of the video to do. So first thing first, choke artist of this week. I am giving it to the Rams of Los Angeles. Why? Because they were so favored. So dang favored to win that game against Tampa Bay to where it should have been a foregone conclusion. But guess what happened?
They just didn't do anything.
Correct. The run game was the run game didn't feel right and all that, and they really just lost to a team they should have beat on paper. Dumbest player goes to the Raiders for the player who got suspended for the season. What's his name again, Johnny? Because you know it well better than I do.
That's perfect, yeah.
Thank you. He proved to be the dumbest player of the week. Worst coaching decision goes to the Redskins. Yes, I do agree with that. They needed to bench Case Keenum. But you did it in the second quarter, and you could tell their quarterback was not ready. And unfortunately for the Redskins, it gets worse because you play the Patriots later this week. Most disappointing loss for a team. I got a tie this week. It is the Packers and Cowboys respectively. Packers should have won that game, but they threw an interception at the goal line. Cowboys defensively played great. Unfortunately, the fumbles by the Cowboys cost them their game, respectively. And Fire Ninja says communist, and he's stuck in hell. Well, you're in school. Deal with it. Other than that,
what about I gotta hand out some awards.
Alright, go ahead and hand out some awards as well, Johnny.
My choke artist. Shit. Honestly, it's. Let's see. I would have to go with the. Sorry, I just gotta think about the games. I think the biggest choke artist is, I have to say, the Lions. I mean, I think the Lions could have like won on several occasions, but I think everyone just kept turning over the ball that game.
Yeah, that was a turnover. That was if you had the quarterback, and unfortunately I started Patrick Mahomes, I kind of got fucked.
What was the next one? Dumbest player? I do agree it's Montez Perfect. Worst coaching decision? I'd have to agree with Jay Gruden. I mean, the only one we really different on is choke artist. But
yeah.
Now what we're gonna get to.
Alright, now it's time for the question of the video, and this one, me and Johnny, we discussed a little bit off screen. The question of the video, it is a two-parter. So if you're watching this, put it in the comment section below live or once the video is done. Who is the most disappointing team after 4 weeks, and who is the most surprising, shocking team? And what I mean by the surprising, shocking team, it's a team that has a winning record right now. So they could be 2-2 or 3-1, or I know, and for some reason, if you say the 49ers because they're undefeated, no, look who they played. Most disappointing for me, I'm going with the Atlanta Falcons. Yes, I know a lot of people, and I'm going to give my explanation why I'm not saying any of the teams who haven't won yet. Miami, we knew they were tanking on purpose. They were going to be bad. Cincinnati, we built mode because they have a new head coach. Arizona, we built mode, so you can kind of expect them to be terrible. Jets, I could see what people would say they were bad because they got Bell, but unfortunately, between injuries, and then of course we know their quarterback is out right now due to mono. I believe he might be playing Sunday, but it doesn't look like it. He's probably not playing. So there's that. And Denver defensively they've been playing well. They've been competitive. They just can't hold on to a fourth quarter lead. But Atlanta to me is the worst one because look who they got. They got a great wide receiving core. They got a great running game. They got Matty Ice. But they've really underperformed in every game. And yes, I know they beat the Eagles, which I got that game wrong, but I'm starting to think that may have been an upset because of how bad they've been playing. Johnny, who's your worst team of the season after 4 weeks?
The worst, I would have to say, or the most disappointing.
Yep.
Think of these more ahead of time. I would have to say the Redskins, but honestly, that's kind of easy because the fact they're winless. Because I at least expected them to do something. But I think I have to go with the Texans. I mean, they're not underperforming yet, but it feels like they're off, really. I mean, they only scored 10 points against the Panthers, and who else do they lose to? They lost to the Saints by like 2. I mean, sure you can make excuses for that, but
yeah, they lost to the Saints after having that lead, and the defense choked in that game, and then of course.
Actually, I changed my mind. I got another team. Actually, disregard what I said. I think the Texans are disappointing, but not as disappointing as this team, honestly. This team, if they want to face any other team, I think they could be 1-3. You know, if you know where I'm going with this, I'm going to say the Chargers. The Chargers are.
Yeah, they've. I could see the Chargers because they didn't look that good against Miami at the start because Miami was leading. Yeah. And I've said the Chargers have been iffy.
Yeah, I just thought about the Chargers as soon as I said disappoint, underperforming. I mean, they just look pedestrian most of the time. They don't look like they really want to win games. I think they haven't scored. I was going to say they didn't score 30, but they did against the Colts, which they barely won that. Let's be honest here. They barely won that.
I agree there. Now, for most surprising team, this was hard because of the fact of, because the Patriots we expected to be undefeated. Kansas City we expected to be undefeated at this point. 49ers, when you saw who they played the first 3 games, you could say you're not surprised either. For me personally, I think the most surprising team right now is a tie. I'm going to go with the Bucks because I believe they are 2-2, correct?
Yeah.
And we all know I was hating on them. I actually said they could be the worst team in the NFC, which they're not. They are actually doing well. So I will tip my hat to them. They are proving me wrong. The second team, I got to go with the Titans because I didn't think they were going to be in contention, because remember I said I had it being the Texans after the Luck situation. But the Titans have been playing well, and I think if you want to throw a third team in there, I'd have to go with Buffalo. Because, yeah, I know they've played weak teams in the first 3 games, but at the same time, Buffalo's offense is so bad, you can make the argument they probably could have lost all those games, but their defense has been keeping them in. And remember, children, Johnny needs a cough drop, so somebody send him a cough drop immediately.
Sorry.
It's alright.
So you want me to go with my surprising team?
Yep.
I'd say Jacksonville, honestly. I think Gardner Minshew was probably the biggest surprise. I honestly think Jacksonville could be I think they could win the AFC South, honestly. They can get a good return for Ramsey.
Yeah, he did pretty well. I know the owner of the Jacksonville doesn't want to get rid of Ramsey, but at this point, I would do it. And I should point out, because we did talk about it a bit, the Jets made delay decision on Donald till Sunday. Keep that in mind if you do have him on your fantasy league or you're a Jets fan. Also, the Chicago Bears starting quarterback, Tawinski, if I'm pronouncing his name correctly, he is out Sunday. Remember, the Bears and Raiders do play in London this week, but he is out due to the injury against Minnesota. Granted, Minnesota takes him out, and what happens? The Bears still win because the Vikings offense sucks, because Kirk Cousins is proving to be the most overpaid piece of shit in the history of football at this point. By the way, just in case in some other news, here to practice, Chiefs non-committed to on status. Bengals have placed wide receiver Ross in IR with a shoulder injury. So there's that. And one more.
Pretty decent too.
One more bit of news, and this is from, well, this has to do with the Raiders. Derek Carr is heartbroken about the suspension to middle linebacker for Tez assholes, I want to call them.
Yeah, that would work.
But I'm not surprised. I think we already discussed that there. So with that being said, please remember to answer the question of the video in the comments. Who's the most disappointing team to you right now, and who's the most surprising team to you at this moment? But let's get to the games. We start Thursday night with the Rams at the Seahawks. Rams coming off a really disappointing loss to Tampa Bay. They should have had easily. And the Seahawks are coming off an easy win over the Cardinals. Now, the game was in Seattle. Now, neither myself nor Johnny have won a Thursday game yet at this point. So bear in mind, if we both agree on this game, you all may as well just pick the other team, because you're probably going to win. It's a short week, divisional rivals. After seeing how bad the Rams played, that really has me concerned here, because Seattle's looked pretty good. And I'm going to take Seattle at home here. I think Seattle is the better team. Well, at least after seeing how they've gone. I know the Rams technically are still the better team. But I feel Seattle has more of their act together. Maybe the Rams bounce back. I don't know. But I trust Seattle at home with the 12th man on Thursday night.
We disagree on this.
Oh, thank God. One of us will finally win a Thursday game. Finally.
Yeah. This is on. If we're going off Thursday night logic, I feel like they want us to see that the Rams are playing like shit against the Bucs. So we would pick Seattle. That's why I'm taking the Rams, right?
You think the Rams bounce back? Night. Yeah, I agree. And I will say Todd Gurley did say he hates Thursday night games. He thinks it's ridiculous. Todd Gurley, you know what I hate? Seeing you not do enough in fantasy to actually help your team win in fantasy football, you dumbass. But yeah, so one of us will be able to celebrate tomorrow night at least. It just depends on who.
I don't care by this point.
I don't care either, because last year, you know what the funny thing is? Last year, I believe I was doing great on Thursday night games to what, week 7? But this year, it's like Thursday games have been my Achilles heel. Alright, to the Sunday games. The first one we're going to discuss is the Panthers at home taking on the Jaguars. This, for me, Johnny, was a very tough game because both teams are starting a backup quarterback, but both have won the last 2 games. Both teams defensively, well, excluding maybe Jacksonville defensively because they have some drama, both teams have looked pretty well. And I had a hard time picking here. As much as I want to go with Carolina, which, by the way, I did. I'm just pulling your leg. I'm picking Carolina here. Better running game, better defense to me because they don't have the drama like Jacksonville. But I will say this: if Jacksonville does win, I would not be surprised because you just brought it up not too long ago. Their backup quarterback has been playing great to the point where I don't think if the Jaguars, like you said, win the division, or even if they get a winning record with him, I don't think Nick Foles gets his job back.
Yeah, I'm taking Jacksonville here because I think Carolina won last game solely on defense. I don't know if Jacksonville is going to have as much offensive consistency as Houston did last game.
I can understand that. So right now we disagree, but I think we can both agree on this one. Patriots at the Redskins. Now, we've already talked about the Redskins a bit. A lot of people believe Gruden will be fired after this game. We're going to lose. Patriots are coming off a hard win over the Bills. Tom Brady did not look good in that game. But this is what I'm going to call if you have any Patriots players, which I do, and I'm going to play them all this week, this is the game to play them in. Yes, I know it's technically a trap game because the Redskins have nothing to lose, but unless you live in Virginia, you don't see how the Redskins play. And I live in Virginia. I'm supposed to watch these guys every week. And, I have a Sunday ticket. The Redskins have played bad in every category. I feel sorry for Adrian Peterson. I like him. But unfortunately, he's in a place to where he can't be used. This would have been my lock of the week, but there's another game for me that's my lock. Yeah. But the Patriots should win this game easy, and you got the Patriots as your lock of the week, I'm going to guess.
Yeah, we discussed this.
Oh, I know we did. But does anyone really think the Redskins have a shot here? Because as a matter of fact, let me just go to ESPN right now on my app.
The Patriots are favored by 15, am I right?
I believe so. I think yesterday when I saw it was 10, but I'm going to double check real quick. But this is a situation to where if you got the Patriots on Fantasy League, some Patriots players on Fantasy, you should be playing all of them, at least to me. I don't know how I feel about, because I know you don't do fantasy football, correct, Johnny?
I used to.
You used to. But this would be a situation where even you would say this game and one other game, you should put all those players you have there on just because of the fact of who they are.
Yeah.
ESPN app's moving slower than molasses. What else is new? There we go. By the way, I'll bring this up now. The 2 teams with a bye this week, the Detroit Lions and the winless Miami Dolphins, but Miami will probably lose this weekend anyway on the bye.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like Cleveland before with their byes. They're always losses.
Yeah, the Patriots are favored right now by 15.5 games. Then the next big one is
you mean points?
Points, yeah. And the Eagles are favored by 13.5 points to win. Other than that, everything else is pretty much... Well, there is one other game that is in double digit, and we'll get to that one later because that is the Sunday night game. So we'll discuss that one later, but that one right now, the Chiefs are favored by 11 points. All right, the next game. It is, ironically enough, we just got done talking about these 2 teams. It is the Buffalo Bills with that great defense going to Tennessee to take on the Titans. Now the Bills are 3-1, the Titans are 2-2. So this one I know it's early, but kind of feels like this has some wild card stipulations, doesn't it? Because both teams, you can make the argument, could be in the wild card hunt near the end of the season. I'm going to take the Bills here. I just trust their defense a hell of a lot more. That defense has been good all 4 weeks. Yes, I know the Bills offensively have had their ups and downs, but let's be honest, I think the Bills' defense is just way better.
I'm taking the Titans here. I just think the Bills' offense is really going to drag them down. I think they just benefit from playing the crappiest offenses and the Patriots.
Okay, fair enough. So far, the only game we've agreed on is the fucking Patriots and Redskins.
This is a make or break week for this week.
Whoever wins this week will probably, unless something happens later on in the season, should probably win between us. Moving on, I think we'll probably both agree on this game. It is the Baltimore Ravens at Pittsburgh. Ravens coming off a hard loss against Cleveland. Pittsburgh gets the first win of the year this past Monday against a Bengals team who, let's be honest, the Bengals suck. The only good thing about Cincinnati is the old TV show WKRP Cincinnati. I got Baltimore here.
Yeah, as much as I don't trust them, I just have to take them.
I think this is a bounce back game for them. This is a game where you can bounce back because you know Pittsburgh offensively hasn't been great.
Game, I'm just gonna cry.
If the Ravens lose this game, which by the way, Brad, do not watch this game, because if we lose and you're watching, I'll blame you. And so would Johnny and my mother. What was I gonna say? Yeah, if you lose this, you're in trouble because then Cleveland can pretty much control that division, and unfortunately, it would put Pittsburgh right back in the hunt.
Yeah.
So we got. I know the Cleveland Browns are going to be cheering for Baltimore. I know the Bengals are going to be cheering for Baltimore. The only ones not cheering for Baltimore is everybody in Pittsburgh, probably. So moving on, and I'm going to let you discuss this one first. It is the Arizona Cardinals who have not won a game, taking on WKRP Cincinnati as the Bengals at home. Neither team's won a game, Johnny. So in your eyes, who gets the first win of the season?
This is stupid. Really. This is the Mega Tank Ball. Like,
no. The Mega Tank Ball's next week.
This is the prelude. This is the prelude. I feel like if we go either way, I just think this game is going to be a shit show. But I feel like the Bengals are going to get the first win.
So you're going with the Bengals of Cincinnati, the WKLP. Well, for me,
yeah.
This is my upset pick of the week. I am taking the Arizona Cardinals to get the first win of the season. I just feel, and it's based on this. If you look at the last few games of both, Arizona's been kind of competitive. I mean, not really to where the whole game's competitive, but enough to where you can see this hope. Cincinnati, on the other hand, did they even bother to show up Monday? It felt like they didn't do shit to the point where I actually had to watch Monday Night Raw. So thank you, Cincinnati. You made me have a terrible Monday night. I had to watch Baron Corbin, you bastards, who, ironically enough, played for the Arizona Cardinals. So, but I just think the Cardinals, they finally get the win. I do agree with you. This is going to be the shit game of the week. I don't think there's any other way you could look at it. It is the worst game statistically. But with that being said, though, there's a chance that this actually might be competitive because of how bad they are. But I think the loser of this game will pretty much have to ask themselves, do we want to start tanking?
Yeah.
To try to get that number one pick. Because, you know, I think Denver's, I know on the NFL Prognosticators Facebook page, somebody asked, do you think Denver should tank at this point? I don't think Denver's going to have the ability because of the fact that you have Miami and Washington who are far worse. And I'm going to discuss one next week with that game, how Miami, they could lose that game but still end up not getting the first pick because they play the Jets twice. Moving on, we head to God bless Texas. As it's the Atlanta Falcons taking on the Houston Texans. Both teams have been a little bit disappointing this year. Atlanta's been more so. This game was hard for me because of the fact of how both of them have played, but I just think Houston's better on defense, and I think if Houston's offense can just stay clicking, they should be able to win. I think Atlanta's losing a golden opportunity to stay competitive because Drew Brees is out, Cam Newton's out, Tampa Bay's, the new head coach, and they're starting to get it together. So I think if Atlanta loses, they're in trouble of winning that division.
Yeah, I think Houston wins.
Which is odd, I know. It feels odd that we're agreeing on that one. But it should. I think it's going to be a decent game, but it's not the game of week 1. I think the next game we're about to talk about, I think that is the game of week 1, and so is the next one after it. But we're going to start with one of the 2 big games of the early games, at least to me, the both of them. It is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers going to New Orleans. The Saints, who, well, let's be honest, myself, you, everybody wrote the Saints off when Teddy Bridgewater was starting. Everybody was like, oh, the Saints ain't going to be able to beat Seattle. They're not going to be able to beat Dallas. Well, I know you picked them, but you were kind of like me, like, you didn't really, did you really trust Teddy Bridgewater? Well, lo and behold, the Saints have been doing well with Teddy Bridgewater, which brings up a question. If he keeps doing well, do you put Drew Brees back in there, or you let Teddy continue watering the ship? And I'm going to say this. I know when he broke his leg, I understood why Minnesota didn't want to keep him. It made sense. But looking at it now and how well Teddy's playing, I think when Drew Brees retires, which could be this year or next year, I think Teddy Bridgewater will be taking over the Saints. Because he knows the system. He's been playing well. Give him that. I got to give him that. I did not think he was going to be able to play that well because this is, coming off that injury. But he's been playing great. I got to give it to him there. Tampa Bay's been playing great defensively. Jameis Winston is starting not to make as many mistakes like he did in week 1. He's actually been playing well. To me, this all comes down to where they're playing at. If this was in Tampa, I probably might have leaned toward Tampa. But because it's in New Orleans, the defense has been playing well. We just saw them stop the running game of Dallas this past week. I'm going to take the Saints. But I will say this in quotations. I don't know if the Saints can win another game just by their field goal kicker. They're going to have to get points in this one against Tampa. But I think Saints win at home.
Yeah, I'm going to go New Orleans.
Down in Mississippi, down in New Orleans. So I was watching the Blues Brothers this morning. Moving on to the other big matchup, which a few weeks ago I would have not said this. It is the Minnesota Vikings and that great defense but terrible quarterback versus the New York Giants, who don't have a running game but have a decent rookie quarterback and a subpar defense. This is really hard. This was another hard game because, I like Minnesota's defense, and I know we've discussed it before. They got probably one of the better defenses in the NFC. And they have a great running game. But it's Kirk freaking Cousins that's the issue. He is the worst. I know Corey Ramsey, you're going to say, oh, no, he's not the worst quarterback. It's Dak because of, statistics. Let's be honest. If you had to choose out of Dak or Kirk Cousins, who do you want in the fourth quarter to try to win you the game? Dak or Kirk Cousins?
I don't. It depends how they're playing, I guess.
Well, I mean overall, because we've seen Dak. Because we've seen. I'll even use last week as an example. The Vikings defense injured the Bear Tavinsky. That should have been the opportunity right there for the Vikings offense to say, "Hey, we should win this game." They don't have their starting quarterback. He's out. He got hurt. And what does the Vikings offense do? Lay a goose egg. You only got 6 points if I recall, I think. You were terrible. Giants still don't have the running back. Didn't hurt them last week against Washington, but we've talked about the Redskins already. They are not a good team. I'm taking the Vikings here, but I will be honest. Out of all the games this week, this is the one game I am least confident in because of how bad Kirk Cousins is. I don't trust him. And you can make the argument that if the Giants do win this game, that maybe the Vikings should trade or cut Kirk Cousins at that point. Johnny, who do you got?
I have the Vikings. I think they just benefit from playing two pretty inconsistent defenses. But then again, I don't know. But then again,
this is one of those. Well, you did better than me last week in picks, so you know something. The next game is enjoy old England, mate. We're going to have tea and crumpets and see the Queen and all that crap. Maybe Chef Ramsay might be there. Who knows? It is the Chicago Bears without their starting quarterback, but that great Bears defense of the Bears taking on the Oakland Raiders, who will be without one of their key defensive pieces because he's a dick and an idiot. Johnny, I'm going to let you start this one off since I know you love England and tea and crumpets and all that stuff.
I haven't played, but this is going to be my upset pick of the week. I'm actually going to take the Raiders to upset the Bears. Even without Vontaze Burfict, I think they can do it because of the fact that I don't trust Chase Daniel under center. I think the Raiders offense is going to perform a little bit better than the Vikings. If that makes
I can understand that. As far as for me in this one, I'm taking Chicago. I just trust the Bears defense a whole lot more. And we saw last week the Bears offense, even with the rookie, the backup quarterback, the offense played good and well enough just for the defense to do its job and dominate. I think that's what the Bears are going to have to do this week. The Bears defense does its job to where the Bears offense just does enough to. How can I say this? The Bears offense just has to play with very few mistakes and just play conscious football. Even if you can't get touchdowns, I think with the Bears defense, you can still win the game with kicking. One of the few times I would say that. The last 1 o'clock game. I already know we both agree with this one because we talked about it earlier. It is the Jets with the mono quarterback taking on the Eagles in Philly. Should we just say this together on 3?
Eagles, is it obvious enough, really?
Yeah, you got the Eagles. This is my lock of the week. I got the Eagles as well. The easiest game on the schedule for Philly at this point.
Who the hell is going to think to pick the fucking Jets?
I can't even say New Yorkers, to be honest, because of the 3 New York teams, this is the one where I think they don't have a chance at winning. I would have to say the Jets' chances of winning are like 0.1%. And that's me being kind. That gets rid of the 1 o'clock game. So let's go to the only one of 2 afternoon games, believe it or not. It is the Denver Broncos on the road taking on the Chargers. Chargers coming off a good win. Well, not a good one because they played Miami, but a win. And Denver, unfortunately, again, have a fourth quarter collapse. Johnny, what do you think happens? Denver gets the first win, or do the Chargers electrocute some horses?
I think the Chargers keep rolling here. I think they can. I think it's honestly keep flowing. I think they'll usually win this game.
And I agree as well. I got the Chargers. I don't trust Denver at this point. That's 2 times I picked Denver to win. No, 3 times actually, haven't I? I think I picked them 3 times to win this season, and they've lost all 3 times for me.
Yeah, I think I picked Denver. I never picked Denver in my picks, but I think I changed my mind on the Bears game, which, Jesus, that worked out for me kind of.
It did. All right, so we only got 3 games left. The next one, it is the other afternoon game. It is my Dallas Cowboys going home after that tough loss against New Orleans, taking on the Green Bay Packers, who had a tough loss against the the Eagles. This game is, I know a lot of people right now will not say this game is important because it's early in the season still, but it is kind of important because whoever wins this game, let's say we get to week 17 and they're tied, both of them, and for a wild card situation or divisional or a divisional, for a spot at home field, for a home game in the playoffs, this could decide it. So this game kind of has importance in that regard. We know I'm taking the Cowboys. I hope they do bounce back. I do not want to sing again next week. So I'm taking Dallas too. I know my buddy Travis, you're going to take Green Bay. I expect him to because he is a diehard Packers fan through and through like I'm a diehard Cowboys fan. But
do you expect me to?
I don't know who you're picking because of the fact of Dallas's defense has played great. But this past game they were shown that, between Zeke not being able to run the ball that much, the 2 fumbles both of them that the Cowboys had by Zeke and Elliott, and a lot of the receiving core just making mistakes. While Green Bay, it just felt like, they should have won that game, but for whatever reason they made a bunch of mental mistakes on the offense, particularly on the goal line situation. But who do you have, Johnny?
I actually have the Packers winning this game.
I'm going to come to New York and I'm going to make you smell my feet. But why do you have Green Bay, though?
I mean, it was honestly because of Dallas's performance last night. Offensively, I'm more concerned about that. I mean, I know the Packers' defense isn't as strong as New Orleans, but I think if they get a couple sacks, they hold Zeke to at least like 50 rushing yards. I think they can pull it out.
I kind of can understand that. I mean, I do. I mean, this is kind of a worrying game for Dallas because, we'll get back to the normal schedule, but just look at the next few games for Dallas. Well, actually, Dallas kind of benefits because after this, they got a game against the Jets, and then Week 7 is at home against the Eagles, and then they got their bye. So, right now, let's just take a look. They beat the Giants, they beat the Redskins, they beat the Dolphins. They're 3-0. They lost to the Saints 3-1. You can make the argument they could be, depending what happens, they'll probably beat the Jets. So, worst case, they could be 6-1 or 5-2 going into their bye week. Because I don't think they're going to lose to the Jets. I think we can guarantee that, right?
Yeah.
So this is really the biggest. This is the game they should be worrying about more than a little bit. Yeah, because next week I wouldn't say overlook the Jets, but just don't get your head off the ball. But I can understand why you're taking Green Bay. And by the way, for Packer fans, let's see who you got next week. You got the Lions, and that's a Monday night game, so that game's going to be a whole lot more important, depending what happens this week. Getting to the Sunday night game of this week, it is the Colts against the Chiefs. Now, this is a little interesting. Chiefs are undefeated, but they did not look good against they looked like they were about to lose against Detroit. Indianapolis, we don't really know who they are as a team. Because without Andrew Luck, and I'm honest, I said they would not do well, but they've been doing well. I believe they are 2-2 right now. But the question is this: can the Colts actually beat Kansas City?
No.
I got the Chiefs. We both got the Chiefs. Then I believe in this one. I can't trust Indianapolis. If it was Andrew Luck playing, I can make the argument the Colts can win that game. But with who they got as quarterback, and I know the Chiefs' defense is not that great, but I don't know if the Colts' defense can stop Mahomes. I really don't. So we both agree there. Now, the Sunday game, the Monday night game. It is Cleveland once again on Monday night taking on the 49ers. Now, this game's interesting. 49ers are undefeated, which I know my buddy Dave, he's all happy about that. But let's just take a look at their games from the first 3 games. They beat Tampa Bay, who we can agree that Tampa Bay was not good in week 1. They've kind of bounced back. Then they beat the Bengals, who, let's be honest, does anyone consider the Bengals a threat for a wild card spot at this point? No. And then you beat the Steelers, which under normal circumstances, hey, that would mean something. But wait, Big Ben wasn't playing. They were using the backup. So that win didn't mean shit. And as much as people got on Dallas for not playing, for having an easy 3 games, I think a lot of people are overlooking the Niners' easy games, in my humble opinion.
Yeah, a lot of people are saying they're easy games.
And this is the 49ers' first true test against the Cleveland team, who I believe, and I think you kind of said they would be in the wild card hunt, but we kind of both believe that we'll have a winning record of some kind, and have been playing well. I think Cleveland will win on Monday night, because I think they won the Monday night game against the Jets, if I recall. They did.
Yeah.
They did. So Cleveland's going to win. In my eyes, I think Cleveland wins their second primetime game.
I have the Browns winning on Monday night. As much as I don't want them to, I think they pull out something. This is going to be a very entertaining game.
And definitely way better than the last Monday night game we just had.
Yeah, geez, who would have thought like 4 years ago, the 49ers and Browns would be a better primetime game than the Steelers at Bengals? Like, think about that.
Better question.
In 2015.
Who would have thought that in 4 years ago that Odell Beckham Jr. would be on the Cleveland Browns and Jimmy Garoppolo would be leading the 49ers?
I mean,
maybe the Jimmy Garoppolo you could see, but not Odell Beckham. So those are picks for this week. Let us know in the comments section. Do you agree or disagree? But we're just going to take a quick look ahead in Week 6. Week 6, it's a Super Bowl rematch between the Giants and Patriots on Thursday night. But
I'm not watching that.
I will probably watch that most likely, just because I want to see if the Giants can actually win with the rookie against one of the best teams in the AFC. But the one game I want to talk about a bit, just to get it hyped up a bit, is what I'm considering the toilet bowl game. The Redskins and Miami Dolphins. Both teams suck. In this situation, you don't want to be the winner. You want to lose this game, because whoever loses will most likely have a chance at the first pick in the draft. But here's the problem for Miami. You played the Jets twice. The Jets have been looking disappointing. You would have to lose to the Jets both times to guarantee yourself a high draft pick, number one. Redskins, I think they will be starting the interim head coach at that point. So that to me is what's the I think that game I will be watching, but it's going to be not because it's the game of the week. It's because I want to see how bad both teams play purposely bad. Because it's kind of like a you've ever heard the whole old saying, Johnny, it's like a train wreck. You don't want to watch, but you can't look away either. That's what this game is to me next week.
Yeah, there couldn't be a better way to put it.
And of course, we have an early game, because I think it's another game in London, the Panthers and Buccaneers. And the Sunday night game really doesn't mean much in Week 6, because it's the Steelers at Chargers.
Yeah, I'm surprised they didn't flex it.
Well, they don't flex until until it gets like the last few weeks of the season, unfortunately.
No, they flexed it. They flexed the Week 7 game last year. It was the 49ers at Rams.
Oh, that's it. Yeah, I think they did that one because of the fact that the Niners were so bad. But what do you flex it with? The question though, because it most likely be one of the late games, because they're not going to do it for a 1 o'clock game.
The 49ers Rams could have been a commanded. Seahawks Browns, Texans Chiefs, hell, even Saints Jags at this point.
Yeah, that actually does look pretty good, but we'll discuss more weeks. I can't talk. You continue. I got to check something.
They should have flexed the 425 game too, honestly. I mean, I think Cowboys are looking decent enough to be on the 425 slot. The Jets, why did you pick the Jets out of all teams? Seriously, that fucking pisses me off to a certain degree. That you're gonna leave that game.
Oh my god. I gotta bring this up because just to end the video on laughter and stupidity. Coach Gruden, the Washington Redskins are looking for an answer. Quarterback and head coach Jay Gruden admitted today that the team doesn't yet have a plan at the quarterback position ahead of Sunday's game against the Patriots. Gruden said we don't have one right now, according to Zach Cox of NESN. Case Keenum started the first 4 games but was benched in favor of rookie Dwayne Haskins in the opening half of last week's blowout loss to the Giants. Keenum had a 5-turnover game in Week 3 against the Bears and threw an interception against the Giants. However, the switch to the first-round pick did little to change Washington's fortunes. The Redskins do have a third option in Colt McCoy, who appeared in 3 games last season before suffering a leg injury. I'm going to ask a question. How does Coach Gruden have a fucking job? It's Wednesday, and you don't know who your quarterback's going to be yet and what the game plan is? And you might wait till 1 o'clock to announce the quarterback? You don't know if no one knows if that's a joke or not? Seriously, how the hell does he have a job? But,
It's because of his last name is Gruden, basically. That's
how he got the job, I think, to begin with, but
probably.
That's going to do it for this week, guys. I hope you've enjoyed the video. Please remember to leave a like if you did and subscribe to it if you want to hear. Oh, we forgot. Yesterday, congratulations to the Nationals. That is Johnny's team for beating the Brewers and advancing to the next round in the playoffs. Tonight, it is the Tampa Bay Rays going against the Oakland A's. I personally have the Oakland A's advancing. I think they are the better team. Johnny, what about you?
To be honest, this is a very coin toss. But I feel like Let's go. I'm just gonna go Tampa just because why the hell not? But I haven't been paying attention to baseball as of late. I've only been paying attention to national stuff, really.
Understood it. Unfortunately, some sad news to report. The man responsible for bringing football to the desert has passed away. Longtime Cardinals owner Bill Bidwell died Wednesday, surrounded by his family and loved ones. The team announced today he was 88 years old. So, a sad goodbye to him. So now you know the Cardinals are going to even be playing with more now because either A, they're going to want to dedicate the game to him and they're going to try to win, or B, they're going to be too emotionally distraught and they're going to lose. So please, I know that's wrong, the thing to say, but just keep that in mind, guys. But until then, oh, I forgot tonight's hockey as well, correct? That starts the hockey season. Yeah. So I should have probably not said just football because that's all I said. So let's actually just talk about the hockey games we have for tonight real quick. Let's see, who do we have? We have 4 games to pick from tonight. The first one is the Senators at the Maple Leafs. Who do you got?
The Senators. I'm just kidding.
You want to take Toronto? Well, I'm going to take the Maple Leafs as well. Capitals at the Blues.
This is probably going to be the game of the night.
The game of the night, yep.
I'm going to say Capitals.
Capitals, all right. And by the way, the Senators Maple Leafs starts at 7 o'clock tonight on the RSN network. Capitals and Blues at 8 o'clock on NBC Sports. I have the Blues winning, so Captain on. There's the one time I'm going to be nice to your hockey team this year. The next game is at 10 o'clock on the RSN network. It is the Canucks at the Oilers.
Wait, against who?
The Canucks at Oilers.
Oh, Oilers. Okay. Alright. This is the point toss. I'm going to say Vancouver.
I'm going to go with the Oilers just because. And then the last one, it is the Sharks at the Golden Knights, and that one's at 10:30 at NBC Sports Network.
I'm going to go with the Sharks, actually, to be honest.
Well, I think the only one we agreed on Maple Leafs because I have the Golden Knights. Alright, I got a call coming in, so that's going to do it, everybody. See you next time. I'll be back, Johnny. Hey, Mom. Just got done.